Hey there, restaurant pros. It's David Scott Peters, and welcome to the Restaurant Prosperity Formula podcast. For over 2 decades, I've been guiding restaurant owners to success with the proven principles of something I call the Restaurant Prosperity Formula. I originally created the formula based on the daily practices of the most successful restaurateurs I coached, and it's now the foundation of what I teach restaurant owners like you so you can achieve success. What do I mean by success? Success is a restaurant owner who dictates the terms of their life and their bank account instead of their restaurants dictating those things for them. Success is a restaurant owner who has freedom from the restaurant and the financial freedom they never thought possible. How you define success is up to you, but I do know the way to achieving it is using the Restaurant Prosperity Formula. This season, I'm diving even deeper into the core elements of the formula: leadership, systems, training, accountability, and taking action. Along with my insights, you'll hear from special guests, industry experts, and inspiring success stories from fellow restaurant owners who've turned their businesses around and found their definition of success. In this episode, number 133, we're talking about innovation on a shoestring, how restaurant pros thrive when budgets are brutal. This is a must-listen-to episode. Let's get started. But first, a word from our sponsor. Boost your restaurant's performance with the Service with Style's secret shopping program. Get comprehensive reports with photos, customized visit templates, a vast network of experienced shoppers, and a fantastic scoring system so you know exactly what your guests are experiencing. You control the frequency and rotation. No minimums, no contracts, no cancellation charges, and no hidden fees. Enjoy industry-leading reporting and scoring software, plus a 10% discount off the price, and your first shop is free. Set up a quick call today at www.servicewithstyle.com/DSP. Hey there, restaurant pros. Let's get real. When you're running a restaurant, it's not about having deep pockets. It's about being resourceful. Too many operators think innovation means big tech, big budgets, or big change. Nope. The best innovations I've seen come from the most brutal financial pressure. Innovation isn't luxury, it's survival. And if you're sitting there thinking you can't afford to innovate, I'm here to show you that you can't afford not to. Today, we're diving deep, and I mean really deep, into how restaurant pros like you can innovate under tight budgets. I'll walk you through real-world, verifiable case studies, stories from our own members who've made game-changing moves, and dead simple playbook you can start using today. This isn't just a pep talk, it's a battle plan. If your margins are paper thin, your labor costs out of control, and your guests are becoming less predictable by the day, good. This episode was built for you. So let's talk about the kind of innovation that doesn't require VC funding, overpriced consultants, or magic. Just guts, systems, and your willingness to move. Let's kill the myth. Innovation isn't some 6-figure redesign or a fancy POS rollout. Real innovation is scrappy. It's resourceful. It's fast. It's what separates the survivors from the burned out operators begging for a break. Innovation is what happens when your back is against the wall and you decide to swing instead of fold. It's putting together what you already have: systems, people, data, and making it more effective. It's about creating opportunity in scarcity. Innovation isn't a tool, it's a mindset. Here's what innovation can really look like. Re-engineering your menu layout to guide eyes to the most profitable items. When you know what your items cost you, what your customers actually purchase, you can use menu engineering techniques to change the profitability of your menu. Some of it is raising prices, some of it is losing items, some of it's adding items, or changing what the customers actually look at based on where it's placed on the menu, whether there's a box or a picture, and you are taking control of your profitability by innovating your menu. It could be creating a loyalty bounce back program with printed cards instead of expensive apps. Look, while I would recommend a loyalty program, an actual application that could, like Driver, that could really change your world, maybe you don't have the money for it right now, and we've just got to get some punch cards made. Old-fashioned punch cards. How fast can you get that done? Get on your computer, go to any one of the, like Vistaprint, create that business card for almost no money, have thousands of them delivered to your door, and start getting your customers to come back on the cheap. What about training your team using voice memos or QR code links to video instructions? Yes, you could go get an LMS, learning management system, or you could simply go get a free QR code maker that goes to a specific URL that is just a YouTube video unlisted on your YouTube channel, so nobody can find it unless you have the link, and take your cell phone and create video trainings. Step by step by step. Who cares about the budget? Who cares about, meaning I need lighting and great cameras and good microphones? No, you don't. Just grab the damn thing and go. Training is at your fingertips with a bunch of free tools. You could turn one slow Tuesday into a high margin burger night with limited time sauces, right? The creativity is we've got the burgers. Maybe we find a deal on the beef, and maybe not. Maybe we're just looking to drive traffic to lower our labor cost, even though our food costs may go up a little bit, the dollars coming in the door, and we create some really creative sauces for dipping with our fries, like a comeback sauce that we find at many of the fast food juggernauts now that kids are coming back for over and over again. And when I say kids, I'm talking teenagers in their 20s who have money to burn. What about repurposing a dead corner of your dining room into maybe a profitable to-go staging area? Now, turn on your Uber Eats, your DoorDash, Postmates, you name it, whatever local is working for you. And set up now a revenue center in a dead spot in your restaurant. What about creating a mini prep station? Or stations plural for signature items to increase speed and reduce cross traffic? Things that maybe your servers could do the desserts instead of they're coming out of the kitchen, the salads instead of coming out of the kitchen. Maybe there's something in the kitchen that could be just a quick station instead of going around somebody else and saving steps. Reducing your labor, increasing ticket times, speed, accuracy. What about changing your ticket printer location, right? Sitting here, what if it was over there? And maybe this shaves off 10 seconds per order. Oh, 10 seconds, big deal. Multiply that by 300 tickets a night, and you've got a game changer. None of it costing you money. Innovation means using your creativity more than your checkbook. It's about momentum, not miracles. And don't underestimate the psychological impact of being innovative. When your team sees you test, adapt, improve, they get inspired. They step up. They start thinking like owners. That's contagious. That's culture building. On a one-on-one strategy call with one of my members, Christina Ellis, she and I tackled, what I would call a bloated food cost issue. We did it head on. Her ideal cost, that's based on recipe costing cards, what the customers actually ordered. Her ideal cost, no waste, no theft, no spoilage, perfect restaurant, which does not exist, was hovering about 30%. That means if my kitchen executed perfectly, a perfect kitchen, which does not exist, she would hit a 30% ideal food cost. That's perfection. Now, I know from all my experience that a typical restaurant runs 7 to 9 points above ideal. So that would have produced a 37 to 39% food cost for most restaurants. Even with that said, a rock star kitchen manager or chef will be 1.5 to 2 points above ideal. That would translate to a 32% actual food cost. So she's running her restaurant at 30% right now, ideal. But by surgically adjusting pricing and leveraging her casino's subsidies, because the restaurant is a part of a casino, we dropped her ideal cost from 30% to 26%. Now we raised some menu prices strategically, like boosting her bacon and eggs from $8.99 to $12.99. Because they were using it as a loss leader. But as we all know, what has happened with eggs over the last 6 months or so, it was becoming, tenuous at best to continue that kind of strategy. We cleaned up some of their confusing modifiers on the menu. We made it easier to operate. Now, with a clear goal, accountability, and smart benchmarking, she lowered her real cost of goods sold from 37.1%. Remember the 7 to 9 points above ideal? 37.1% to 33.04%. And kept moving forward. No guesswork, just action and results. Here are the 4-step process for innovation if you're on a shoestring budget. And this is where you win or lose the game. Nail this, and you have a blueprint for improving any part of your restaurant, whether it's front of house, kitchen flow, marketing, or team culture. Number 1 is observe. Forget the complicated reports. Here's how to tune it in. Listen to your team's complaints. They're telling you where the friction is. They're telling you where you're getting backed up. They're telling you what the guests don't like on a plate. They're telling you about how hard it is to sell something because it's not good or it's inconsistent. They can tell you because they're front line with the guests every moment of the day. How about watch your guest behavior? What dishes go untouched? Honestly, when the rules are no empty hands going in and out of the kitchen. That's what my mom taught me. You can't enter the kitchen without something in your hand. You can't exit the kitchen without something in your hand. That way we're team oriented. But at the same time, it means you've got something in your hand and you go, when you asked, would you like a to-go box? And they say no, and it's half touched, quarter touched. We've got data right at our fingertips. Our guests are telling us without using words. You can also see what items get shared. When you start seeing people, reaching across the table going, oh, that's so good. And they're passing it around because the dish is fantastic. There's opportunity to promote it. There's opportunity to raise the price. There's opportunity to say, hey, here's could be a signature item that we're doing really well. You could eavesdrop on your servers. Now, your manager should be doing that on a daily basis to begin with. But understand, when you're eavesdropping on their customer interactions, you've got an opportunity to understand if they're stumbling through the menu or they're confidently upselling. You're finding out where the pain points are. Are they asking about allergens and we haven't trained our people? Are we finding out that they're asking for a certain dish that we no longer have? That there's opportunity there, but you have to use your ears. Basically, you could do a weekly manager walkthrough with a fresh set of eyes. Pretend you're a guest for the first time. Are you seeing the smudges on the front door? Are you seeing the gum on the sidewalk out front? Are you seeing the dust bunnies and the tape and the nails and the staples that are in the wall? I'm trying to think of all the different things that I see in a restaurant, and you go, are you seeing dead bugs? Like, what are you seeing? Because sometimes we walk through the restaurant every single day and we're numb to what a guest sees. That's why I always tell my people, sit at different tables to do your paperwork. Because sitting there, you have a completely different perspective of your restaurant. You actually can see with your customer's eyes. And this identifies opportunity for lipstick on a pig, whether it's paint or fixing a wall, or simply cleaning, adding flowers, maybe fixing a frame. You could basically walk your competition. You're having a slow night? Get out of your door and go in and out of other restaurants that are nearby. What are they doing that you're not, that they're busy? Now, I'm not talking about doing a Groupon and driving false traffic into your business and killing yourself on a discount. I'm talking about what are they doing well? Is it service? Is it the ambiance? Is it cleanliness? Is it curb appeal? What are they doing that you could be stealing? How about ask your guests what they'd like to see? Oh my God, and mean it. If you are doing your job right, you have a customer list. You have been asking people for their name and their email address at minimum to sign up for a birthday program, a loyalty program. I don't care what it is. You should be gaining your guests' information. Why? Because these are the people who love you. You could ask them at the table, what would you like to see? But more importantly, if I have an email list, instead of guessing, I think, oh man, we should really add a smash burger. What if you send an email out to your 3,000 guests that have been in and out of your restaurant, your 10,000 guests, hell, even if it's just 300? What would you like to see? Does a smash burger interest you? Wouldn't you love to get a sample of your guest's opinion before you go out and roll out a brand new menu? Put all the effort into sourcing the product, creating the recipes, testing, tasting, putting it on the menu, putting a new key on the POS system to only have it flop? You could check all your timestamps on your ticket times. Now, I know you guys have bump screens now. I'm old. I didn't have a bump screen, which you have the digital equivalent of when it was placed, the order was placed, and when it went out of the kitchen. In the old days, we would actually have the paper ticket, and I would have what would be a time clock stamper, and I'd go boom, and I'd put the time stamp, and then I'd skewer it. And then at the end of the shift, we would look and see how many minutes the ticket times were. What are you looking for? You're looking for consistently crashing during a certain rush. Because if I could figure that out, is it the people on my team? Could I innovate on who's working that day? Could I innovate training to make them better? Could I innovate by moving things around? Could I innovate by changing the menu? What could I do when I have that kind of information? How about scan your storage areas? Your dry storage, your walk-in coolers, your reach-in coolers, your freezers. What's always expiring before it gets used? Oh, that's where something like a waste tracker comes in. That I can see our opportunities. That's where we can see we're throwing away half a case of tomatoes every Thursday because we've been over ordering on Monday. I could change that, reduce the amount of money that I'm bleeding. Maybe I could identify overstocked items that I need to sell or get rid of. This is where the gold is. Observation gives you clarity, and clarity gives you leverage. How about number 2, prototype? Yeah, like the big companies, right? You make a prototype to test the idea. Don't launch wide. Don't launch wide. That's how operators get burned, right? You make this special promotion, this big thing. You change your complete menu. You do all these things to only have it flop and lose thousands of dollars. How about go narrow and controlled? Test a new dish off menu. Limited portions. One night, one server. Just one server. You could reroute a line cook position to test tighter service flow. Right? What if I sent this to another printer? What if I got rid of a cook and had trained them on 2 positions on a slower night? Could I become more efficient? How about run one night promo with a partner brewery to gauge interest? Hey, we've got this brewery and we're bringing in their beer. We're promoting it. All we had to do is make flyers, table tents, and send out an email and see if we can get the people who love their beer to come in. Are we busier? We're going to get them to come in and give away trinkets and trash, meaning koozies and keychains and things like that, and promote the beer and go around to tables and talk about it, creating fun and interest. What about build a table tent QR code to get feedback? If there's one thing we've got to do is we've got to get feedback from our guests. And I'd rather get it while I'm in the restaurant than find out on Yelp, on TripAdvisor, Google. You get the picture? So you can literally test placement where it is on the table. You can test messaging when they go on the QR code, what gets people to do something. All of a sudden you're gaining feedback. Now, we could do this with apps like Ovation, which is fantastic. I love what they do over there, but I could test it now on a shoestring budget and then decide if I need a solution like an Ovation. Keep it ugly. Keep it fast. Don't make it perfect. Make it happen. That's the key. How about number 3, measure? That which we measure improves. Without measurement, you don't know. You need to quantify everything. Here's what you should track. Things like changes in item sales. Did the change on the menu make us sell more? And by selling more of a strategic item, did I lower my food costs? Did I increase my cash contribution, which may have raised my food cost, but lowered my labor cost? Did the changes on the menu influence my guests? Was it a good decision? You need to track things like guest check average. Are the changes I make that I take us from $18 per person to $20? You make that kind of change, that's huge. That's without increased customer counts. You are raising your revenue by 10%, give or take a little, right? How about ticket times? Again, depending on the concept. Maybe you're somebody like me who I have all this experience in brew pubs and sports bars and casual concepts. I wanted a 5 to 8 minute ticket time in a perfect world, 15 on the long side, but you could be fine dining where a 15, 20, 30 minute ticket time's not bad. But when you start seeing the change that you made to the menu, take your ticket times of 45 minutes to an hour, and you're supposed to be a 15-minute ticket time place, you're crushing your guest experience. But maybe you see that the changes you made to the line brought your ticket times down by 5 minutes, and it's something solid. You want to keep it in place. What about tracking labor costs before and after the change? That's a big one. When I can increase my efficiencies with little changes, those little changes go a long way because every minute worked is money out of your back pocket. Remember the feedback? Look at your feedback volume and the quality of it. Am I getting more feedback from my guests from the changes I made? Is it positive? Is it negative? Because that can tell me whether the changes are working or not. You need to be tracking things like repeat guest visits. That's where loyalty programs are really nice. Now, everybody's not going to sign up for a loyalty program. I get it. But at least I have a sample of my guests and I can see if my promotions are working. I can see if people like coming back over and over again. Because that's what builds my business. If I can get a guest to come back over and over and over again, instead of 4 visits a month, 5 visits a month, all of a sudden I may have increased my sales by 25%. Because if I get every guest to come back one more time out of 4, right, you get the picture? The change in your revenue, getting happy customers to come back more often, is a game changer. But how do I know if I don't track? Server upselling rates. Look at your servers, post what their stats are. Their dollars per labor hour worked. Base for every hour, what are their sales? Lunch versus dinner, because they're 2 different shifts. 2 different set of sales numbers. And then teach them how to upsell and keep track. Or how many appetizers is selling a shift, and whether it's a Monday to another Monday, look at their average ticket, and then look at how many of these extra appetizers they've sold. You can actually track whether they're upselling without having to listen. You should be tracking turnover rates post-training, right? We want to get training systems in place to become better. What was my turnover rate before the training went in place? Are people sticking around longer because now they know what their job is, how to do it, how well it should be done, more importantly, by when? They've got a supportive manager who understands that as well and is there to help them. That's huge. Without measurement, how do you know? Measurement turns ideas into insight. It tells you where to double down and where to walk away. Number 4, repeat or kill. This is the simplest of all the steps. If it worked, document the process, create a 1-page SOP, standard operating procedure, and train the team. That's simple. This is fantastic. Let's take the time to now put the time into it to perfect it, to make it a training system for it, to get all the ancillary pieces, whether it be recipe costing cards and build charts, to QR code table tents, to point of purchase posters. I don't care what it is. We know the idea works. Let's cement it. Let's document it. And then let's train the rest of the team to make sure they're doing it right, because it can have a positive impact. Now, what if it didn't work? Don't cling to it. Kill it. Move on. All too often, I see members who create these menus and add their Aunt Louise's meatloaf, and they think, oh, nostalgia, everybody's going to love this. Nobody's buying it, and we keep it on the menu. We keep it on the menu quarter after quarter after quarter, and no one's buying it. But the sentimental part is got us, but we're not charging enough for it. We're using the wrong product. People are throwing it away. It's not making us money. It's killing us. If the data says get rid of it fast, move on. The real skill is learning quickly. Most innovation fails not because we're bad, but because no one was brave enough. No one was brave enough to test fast and let go. And one of my members, Julie Peacock, her food cost was already strong at 21.24%. Like, she had made changes that just saved her business, made life easier for her, made happy guests, just phenomenal member. But she wanted to go leaner without hurting the guest experience because she didn't have strong management and she had a small kitchen. So together we trimmed down her menu, cutting items like shishito peppers and tacos and reducing appetizers, and simplified her burger lineup. We introduced key item tracking, waste logs, and standard operating procedures for prep. These changes tightened up her ops, boosted team efficiency, and protected her margins from creeping up based on waste and inflation. She was an innovator. Now let's bring in the receipts. Let's talk about case study number 1. Out of the headlines, ghost kitchen on a $12,000 budget. According to QSR Magazine, a Checkers franchisee in California launched a full-scale ghost kitchen for only $12,000. That's right, no remodels, no full dining room, just efficient, delivery-only setup focused on platforms like DoorDash and Uber Eats. The franchisee understood what most operators miss. Digital first doesn't mean high cost. He found a small commercial space, worked with minimum staff, and kept the menu laser focused. That allowed him to pivot, test, and grow without the bloat. What could you do with your downtime in your kitchen? Could you turn on your own second concept that's delivery only in a kitchen that has labor doing nothing and product that can be used? Case study number 2, QR codes level up the game. QR codes aren't dead. They're evolving. Restaurant Business Online reported operators using QR codes to create flexible menus, launch interactive surveys, deliver training videos, and even run loyalty contests, all without touching a printer. Now, our members, Melissa and Eric Rickman, transformed their static printed menu into a dynamic QR code powered version. They used a live Google Sheet to update prices and rotate specials in real time. More impressively, they added QR codes in Server Alley linked to short training videos, giving new hires instant access to daily specials, brand voice cues, and upselling strategies. Smart, fast, and free to implement. Case study number 3, experience on a budget, events that pull guests in. Guests crave novelty. FSR magazine showed how smart operators pull guests in without blowing the budget. Low-cost trivia nights. I can tell you that's huge. When I was an operator of a 30-unit restaurant sports bar chain in Arizona as the franchisor, we used trivia as a big deal, where we literally had the boxes, the app, the whole bit, where people could compete against each other, all sitting in the bar, restaurant, and with other bars and restaurants. Think about the big nights at some of your little places who are innovative and flexible. You're going to do like a Harry Potter trivia night, a Star Wars trivia night, an outright just trivia night, and you host it. All you need is a speaker and a microphone, some ideas, some forms to fill out, a little printed paper, and for nothing, create entertainment, an event for people to come in and dine with you. They showed that there are kitchen-led tasting experiences where literally the chef or kitchen manager comes out and you've got a tasting menu and they come to the table and they talk. TV has made the kitchen so important as a marketing tool, not just somebody who execute pretty food tastes good, not just somebody who has to make sure you run profitably, but somebody who can come out and be a face of the restaurant, allow you to charge more and create a memorable experience. They went on to talk about exclusive invite-only beer flights for VIPs. Maybe you're doing things for those people. Remember the email list I said you needed to get their name and email? Maybe it's just a simple VIP program, and all that means is you're an insider, and we do things for our insiders, getting them to come back more often. What if you got that regular again to come back 1-2 times more a month? What a dramatic impact that can have on your bottom line as well as your top line. Now, one of my members, Chris Schoenberger, launched a widely effective low-budget campaign known as the Red Envelope Promotion. Now, I will tell you, over the years, it has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger for him, and it is probably the most successful thing that he does when it comes to marketing. And he probably now puts real money into it. But when he started, it was on a shoestring. Diners in January got a sealed red envelope to bring back. Still sealed in February. So I can't use this. Here's this promotion. Thanks for coming dining. Here at the end of your experience, here's a red envelope. Bring it back. And some, I believe, he mailed to people that he had on his list. Said bring it back in February. So inside were rewards from a free appetizer or a free drink. By the way, whatever the lowest one is, nobody wins that. But I could win a free appetizer up to maybe a gift card for $100. All the way up to, as time went on, big screen TV for him. Excuse me. I think one of the times he actually put in, gave away a motorcycle. Like I said, it went from innovative and low budget to big. But you could start with a $100 gift card. Several of them. The results? Major repeat business during what's usually a slow month, all driven by a sense of curiosity and delayed gratification. It costs next to nothing, but built loyalty and momentum like a high-dollar ad campaign. Let's get painfully honest. This is where great ideas go to die. Overcomplicating the launch. If you need 3 meetings, a Canva design, and 6-week rollout for your test, remember, we're talking about a test, you've already lost. Innovation thrives in action, not polish. How about waiting for perfection? You hesitated. You missed the window. Meanwhile, the Scrappy operator down the street beat you to it. Things like poor communication. Great ideas die in the walk-in where no one knows how to execute. If your team isn't on board, it's not going to happen. What about if there's no tracking? No tracking. You launched, they walked away. If you're not checking data within 48 hours, you're not innovating, you're guessing. And no follow through. If it worked, build the system, celebrate the win, codify the process. Otherwise, it vanishes. And finally, fear of feedback. Too many operators avoid asking for input because they're afraid of the answer. Don't be one of them. Feedback is the GPS of innovation. Here's your mantra. Done is better than perfect when you're bleeding margin. Done is better than perfect when you're bleeding margin. If you take one thing from this episode, let it be this. Progress beats polish every damn time. You've got the blueprint. You've got the examples. Now it's your move. Here are 5 things you can try this week. Launch a single QR code feedback form on 3 tables. Introduce a surprise and delight of an appetizer using overstocked ingredients. Shadow your servers for 1 shift and document upselling opportunities. Host a pop-up concept for 1 shift under a different brand name. Rework your menu to feature your top 3 profitable items front and center. Real restaurant pros are doing this right now. Christina Ellis reduced food costs by 4% with smart pricing and modifier cleanup. Julie Peacock simplified her menu and tightened her prep to protect margins. Melissa and Eric Rickman built a digital menu and training system using free tools. Chris Schoenberger boosted repeat business with a low dollar promo built on suspense. They didn't guess. They didn't wait. They took action. Pick one. Execute fast. Track the outcome. Because while you're sitting still, someone else is taking the risk that you're afraid of and reaping the rewards. Innovation is no longer optional. It's how you win. So get moving. I'm rooting for you. But more importantly, I'm expecting results. Let's go. Let's get it. Ready to take the next step towards achieving restaurant prosperity, freedom from the daily grind, and the financial success you deserve? Book a discovery call with Ryan James to learn about our group coaching program. Ryan will guide you through how our program can transform your restaurant and help you achieve the prosperity and freedom you've been striving for. Click the link in the description below or visit dsp.coach/talk-to-Ryan to schedule your call now.